Hi, my name is Hosanna and this is another episode of Tatua. So come close and we Tatua. And today it's very exciting because we have a guest. You'll be seeing her face a lot. So she's going to introduce herself. And welcome.
My name is Samani Vitala. I'm so excited to be here today with Hosie as we Tatua Life. And we welcome you on this another exciting episode of Tatua, and we hope you enjoy it.
Yes.
Our topic for today is abusive marriages.
Yes.
When you're in an abusive marriage, when do you know that you're in one? What do you do about it?
Yes.
When do you say enough? When do you say, I can make this work? So we're going to talk about all these. And if you're out there and you have something useful to share with us, put it down in the comments and let us talk about this. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave all those nice comments down below.
For us.
Yes. So, tell me, Hosie, you must have heard about this, abusive marriages. You hear
Many
who
times.
is in an abusive marriage.
Many
What is an
times.
abusive marriage?
An abusive marriage, obviously, it is where there is abuse, serious abuse, like physical abuse, if you're being boxed.
Yes.
And very many times it starts with dating. You're a young girl and you're dating, and this guy slaps you once in a while, but you tolerate it because he's this, he's that. And of course, it becomes bigger the moment he puts a ring on your finger.
Yes. So there are these things that your partner does to you, and they cause you pain. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could even be psychological.
Yes.
So when you find yourself in such a situation, just know you're in an abusive
Relationship.
marriage.
By the way,
Abusive
very many
marriage.
people actually don't know what abusive marriages are because of the way they are brought up. They probably know that is how things are.
That's how things should be.
And
you've heard of situations where they say unless your husband is beating you, he doesn't love you.
yeah, we've had you parents actually, the sayingers, the aunties, those people who want to give advice, try to give the wrong advice.
Yeah.
You want us to endure a lot, especially us ladies.
Yes.
You want us to endure a lot in a marriage, and then we end up being abused. And we don't know whether it's an abuse, whether we are just being lazy or we are not being strong people in a marriage.
And another bad thing about abuse in a relationship is that if it is, let's say, physical, it now comes into also cause you emotional pain.
Yes.
It now also causes you psychological pain. It sometimes has like a dwindling effect, where you find that even the children in the home are realizing
abused.
Our mother is being abused.
Yeah.
So every time they hear their father coming back, they
know.
run under the bed and they are thinking, oh God, help our mother, she should not be beaten today. Yeah. So at what point do you really say, I have had enough?
I mean, your instincts should be able to tell you. Many times God has given us this other sense that tells you that what I'm in is really not the right thing. But sometimes you want to subdue it down and you want to keep telling your spirit that it's okay. You want to forcefully stay.
Things will work.
Yet very many times when you sleep and you're alone, this is not right.
Yeah, and there's this cliche thing, where mostly women lie. I fell down the stairs.
Yes,
you are punched in the face.
You're wearing shades. You're wearing the sunglasses. Yeah. We can't even tell whether something happens. We want to cover up.
Yeah, and what maybe people should know is that when your partner beats you, just once, they will do it again.
They must do it again.
Yeah. So unless you want to bear this thing for the next 30 years, feel free, keep in that abusive relationship. So I think the test of how far can I go with this should be, in 30 years' time, do you want this thing to be happening to me?
Do I want it to continue? Will I endure this?
Yes.
How
And that
will
is
I be?
mostly actually on all sorts of pain that your partner causes you to go through. There are those who are beaten. There are those where you find like your partner is practicing witchcraft.
Yes.
And you're freaked out in your own house.
Yeah, it freaks. By the way, many times when this thing freaks out the first time, that is a real feeling. Because if you keep on doing it the second time, the third time, you might think it's okay, and it's not okay. just consider the feeling you get the first time you see these things, like witchcraft. In the way you talked about it, if the guy or the woman is into witchcraft or cultism, or they want things like you must sacrifice a child. You know, in our culture we do these. Such things are very, very scary. So those are indicators to tell you that you are in an abusive marriage. In many times you don't agree with such things. Please consider your feelings. And then there's also the sexual abuse.
You know, most people, they don't want to agree with this notion of rape when you're married. But the truth is, rape is not about, you know, your entitlements as a husband or as a wife. Rape is about you did not get the consent.
You did not agree.
Person. When you're married, you're lucky because that way you don't have to write an email or a text message to request for anything. But you know, your partner's consent should be inferred from their conduct.
Exactly.
Women usually say they have a headache when she says she has a headache.
Yeah, and I mean, most cases, by the way, it's true. There is always a headache. But men don't think that you can have a headache.
Yeah.
You know?
So you find that, you know, someone saying I have a headache, but the husband is like, no. I am your husband.
Yeah, you must give me today.
Exactly. And then, without your consent, he's forcing you to have relations with him, much as you're his wife. So this thing actually happens. And the bad thing about rape is that it actually shreds your dignity.
It does. It takes away your dignity, your feelings,
so
everything.
If you love your wife, if you love your husband, do not rape them.
By the way, let me tell you, very many married people have been raped, but they don't know. They don't know
and
because
they won't say.
You won't say because you've been told that it's your obligation.
You have a husband and he's a rapist and you're the constant everyday victim.
They make you do things that are not natural.
Exactly.
You get?
Yeah.
They want you to do the wrong thing. They want you to
want
do
to
crazy
have
stuff.
sex in weird places. In the wrong holes.
We might laugh about it, but it really happens. And the worst bit is that people are starting to accept it. You find like people are dating and actually the woman is okay with a man doing what?
Doing all those things to her. It's not okay if you're not comfortable.
That my husband wants to do it in the annual, you know.
Well, there are those who love it that way, but if you don't do it.
In most cases, I think if you love doing it that way, you need to check your husband. He might actually be.
Yeah, you know, one time when I just finished law school, there was this the famous Bad Black. She had this case of embezzlement that was going on, and while they were making her lead, you know, her testimony, she came to testify and she said that the husband, you know, the boyfriend, would give her some drugs, and then he would have sex with her in the anus.
That is an abuse.
Then when she said that, I remember the lady justice who was prosecuting the case, Catherine Bamugemerere, immediately told her to stop.
Yeah.
And she asked the police to take note of that. Because
it's a case.
Like in Uganda's laws, that is unnatural sex. And it attracts criminal penalties. So he had her, you know, be brought to the attention of the police so that they could help her if she needed help.
You need help.
So when you find your spouse making you do things
that you feel uncomfortable with, please.
That is abuse.
Talk to a friend. Read about these things. I mean, you should have a friend to talk to, at least to open up to. And if you find that your friend is probably going through the same thing, you need probably a third person to talk to and see if this thing is natural. You know, in our generation, the millennials, again, we endure a lot of things. There are very many things we've watched that are exposed to us and think are normal. And yet these things are actually not normal.
They're not. Or even if they are, you don't want them. So when you don't want them, no one should do them to you. If anyone thinks they should do them to you, say no. If your no is not heard, you're in an abusive marriage. And then there are these other people whom you find that in their marriage, either the wife or the husband is emotionally manipulating you. You find that you've caught your wife cheating on you, and then when you say, how could you do this to me? Instead of her saying she's sorry, she says, oh, I cannot believe myself. I'm going to kill myself.
You find some...
You've cheated.
And the
For
bank
God's
was going
sake,
to fall
I want
down
to
just-
throw myself down there. I have cheated. What do you want your
That
spouse
is
to
an
do?
abuse.
Yes.
Like you're trying to manipulate this person emotionally. And it's not right. Even husbands who say they're going to kill themselves, maybe I'm made like this.
Yes.
As in, you keep manipulating your wife until
Yeah.
she feels like maybe it's okay for you to cheat.
Yes. It is not fine. If
not
you
fine.
don't like that, you're in an abusive marriage. And then there are these constant cases of infidelity.
Yes.
Your husband or your wife just can't keep it together. Day one, day two, he's in a lodge, he's in a club, he's in a hotel, he has traveled for a conference.
And
Yet
then
he's,
we have these
you know,
cultures like already like in the western Uganda part of it in Fort Portal where people say that omusaija tayangwa.
Exactly.
Like I don't even know whether the Baganda also believe in that you cannot refuse a husband.
A man.
A man cannot be refused. So you
Yes.
find like men are okay with cheating.
Yes.
They are cheating you
Yeah.
left, right, and
Not
center.
okay. If it is not the standard of your relationship, that you know you cannot have someone else while you're with me. If you find your spouse cheating, don't tolerate it.
Do not tolerate
Don't.
it.
Yeah.
You know, some people say that it's not only you who has gone through it. You go to tell your parents and they're like, you know what? All
Stay
of
in
us
your
have
home.
gone through
We
it.
have
You
gone
stay
through
in your
this.
home.
Yeah.
Things are hard. That is
Yes.
how things are supposed
And
to be.
you know the danger of staying in such a relationship is that start at first. You're of course going to be going to hospital for medication for
Yes,
STDs.
you have to get some
Yeah.
STDs.
Before you know it, your husband is in court over matters of child support.
Yes.
You know, 1, 2, 3 women, they want child support. Before you know it, unfortunately, your husband passes on and you cannot
You
have a
don't know
decent
what, because you
funeral for
were
him
just
because,
quiet about
yes,
it and accepting
1,
the
2,
culture.
3 women, 4 are showing up.
Yes.
They have his children. He didn't have
They
much.
look alike. They look like your husband.
Yes.
Copy and paste
You
on
can't
the
deny
funeral.
these are his children.
Yeah, you can
Your
deny.
husband didn't even leave you anything, and the little that is there for your
You
future
have to
children,
share
you
it
have to
with
share
the
it
whole
these
village
people.
that he's
So,
tired.
if you are in a relationship where your partner is like a serial cheater, and you feel 30 years down this road, I don't want to find myself in this situation, you've had enough.
Yes.
You have had enough. So do not keep in a relationship that you find abusive.
And then there's also financial abuse, where you find like a man does not want you to work.
Exactly.
He stops you from going to work. It's like, you know, now that you're my wife, you can stay at home.
Yes.
You don't
I'll
need to
take care
go
of
and
you.
work. I'll take care of you. And then down the road, he's not doing his work.
And yet you went to school.
You went to school, you're really educated, you have your masters. Even if you don't have your masters, you have your, whatever it is, but it can push you somewhere if you went out there to work. But you find this partner hadn't agreed with you when you're
Yes.
dating that you're going to stop.
Yeah.
But then when you get married, immediately he begins telling you things like, you know what, you have to stay at home. If you go out,
I will
you
know
know,
you're cheating on me.
I know you're cheating.
I'm done with you.
In a short time, they don't want you to talk to your friends. In another time, they
Yes.
want you to change your friends. You
No
know,
visitors are allowed at your house.
at your house, that is a scary time.
Yes.
When you're not even allowed to get your phone call anytime. You know, that is very abusive. And in many cases, I don't know why someone doesn't have to talk to someone. You just
Why
immediately have
shouldn't
to
people have
to
friends?
share it.
Yeah.
Share it and
Yeah.
tell your parents, tell someone who's very close to you, and let them get to know what you're going through. You know? And I don't know, Samali, but Christians say that we shouldn't divorce, that God hates divorce. We need a Christian out there to come and tell us,
Yes. Share your story. with
share
us.
your story.
Tell us.
Like,
You prayed and it worked.
you prayed, it worked, and the guy stopped cheating.
He stopped
you
beating
prayed, and things stopped all of a sudden.
Yes.
So you're no longer in abusive marriage just because you prayed. We need someone to come and clarify this.
Yeah.
Pastors, churches, please clarify this. Is
Yes.
divorce wrong?
And you know what is most hurting about all this? Is that there may be a success story out there, you know, of
Yes.
someone who prayed and it worked.
Yes.
But you find most Christian women, they are dying from abuse in their marriages.
They are just
She
enduring
is
it.
beaten. She will, of course, never say it. And then her husband is also a churchman.
Yes.
He will never accept he beats
Yes,
his
by
wife.
the way you bring it, there are very many pastor wives who don't want to admit it, but your pastors slap you.
Yes.
Your pastor husband slaps you
him.
every day,
Yeah.
pinches you. rapes you, does a lot of things
Yeah.
to you. But when it's Sunday morning, he's all holy
Yeah,
in
you
front
apply
of people.
lots of makeup. You have to go and be a lady pastor in
Yes,
church.
and then you sacrifice yourself just
Yes.
because you don't want people to think bad
Yeah.
about your husband.
Yeah.
I think that's
Actually,
crazy.
this topic I think relates to what we were talking about some other time of keeping up appearances.
Appearances.
You're in a marriage, it is not working. You just won't let it go because you invited 2,000 people to your wedding.
Yeah, at your wedding.
How will they know
accountability.
it has failed?
Accountability.
Yes.
Your parents are like, my child. They've told
Yes.
all mothers union members.
Yes.
The
And
church
then,
people that
yeah,
you
your
got
parents
married.
want to make it look like if you can't have a marriage that has worked, they are the problem.
Yes,
Yet
yes.
it is not the case.
It's not about them.
Your partner being abusive has nothing to do with how you were brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if something is not working, feel free. Let it go. Know your limits and
Know
say,
your limits.
I will not go through this.
Know when to do this.
Yes.
And this emotional abuse where you find your husband is comparing you with other women. Like someone comes and says, girls at my office look like this. Why don't you do like this? Cut your hair.
That is the emotional abuse.
You cut your hair because the girls are
Yeah.
looking better at my
Yes.
office. You do things like this. For you, can't you play it? Like immediately they are making you feel like
Yes.
you cannot do things
And that, of course,
yourself.
even has to do with disrespect.
Yeah.
Why would your husband tell you something like that?
Yeah, disrespect. Some
Yes.
people are used to being disrespected.
Yes.
They're okay with it.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to this norm where parents, and it's cultural. You find they brought for you aunties, older people
Yes.
telling you how to endure in marriage,
Yes.
and you don't know the limit.
And you know what they usually tell you? Men are like that.
Men are like that. Why
No,
can't men
men are
change?
not like that. There are very many
You know?
good men out
There
there.
are very many
who
good
don't
men.
beat
We
their
are
wives,
trying to raise
who don't
good men
cheat
out
on
there.
their wives. Yeah.
Yes.
So do not think that men are like that. It's not true.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Not everyone is like that.
Yeah.
Not all men are dogs. I hear most people want to call them dogs.
Yeah.
Not all
It's
men
not
are
true.
dogs. There are actually
Yeah.
good men out there
Yes.
who are ready to marry a woman and love them
Yes.
and give them that beautiful
They
marriage.
spoil you with
They
romance and they're like, God.
romance. Yes. Every woman needs romance out there. Every woman needs to be loved.
Yeah.
So if you know that you are not comfortable with your marriage, there are very many times you go to sleep and feel like crying.
Yes.
Every time you are alone, you feel like crying. You know that you are, because of your husband,
Yeah.
you know that you are in an abusive marriage.
Yeah, and then you realize most of the things we do in this world, including getting married, is so that we'll be happy.
Yes.
So when you find it is not working, you're not happy, you're crying every
Yes, all
single
the
day.
time.
Just sit back objectively and ask yourself, for the next 30 years, do I want to be crying?
Do I want to be
Chances
here?
are you
really?
might not even be having functional tear glands. So just decide and say,
Like you just cry and no
yes,
tears come
no
out.
tears come out.
You
So
know?
if you can bear it for the next 30 days, feel free, continue crying.
Continue crying.
Yeah.
But then again, which example are you, if you have kids, which example are you giving
Yes.
to your girls,
Yeah.
to your daughters, to your sons? You are creating another generation.
Yes,
and that
of people
generation is
who
going
are
to
tortured.
abuse. People who are
inside
tortured.
there. And that reminds me, by the way, in my practice, you come across women who want divorce finally, and they're like, I have had enough, I've had enough, I've had enough. This thing started when my kids were, just born.
Yeah.
But then she bore it until they were older. And why did you stay? She's like, my children were
Yeah,
so young.
everyone gives a
Yes.
reason for children.
Even those who are deciding to persist, they insist, I'm doing it for my
For the children.
But the truth is, you're lying to yourself.
You
You
are
are
killing.
actually hurting those children.
Yes, you're
by
hurting the
staying in an
children
abusive
and you're
marriage.
hurting yourself.
Yes. Children see you and know when you're not happy.
A lot. They
Children
can tell.
know when their father is abusing
Yes.
their mother.
They can tell.
One time I visited a friend who had been abused by her husband, and when he came home in the evening, their small daughter, who was just 3 years, she started shouting in Swahili, and in English she was meaning, Daddy, you're back. Please don't beat mommy today. Please don't beat mommy. And she was, pulling a big man
So
away
sad.
from the living room, taking him like outside. Please don't beat mommy today.
That
And
is
then,
so sad.
when she managed to get out of the marriage, the child changed school. So they would ask the child, why did you leave your school to come here? She's like, Daddy used to beat mommy.
The
So we
children
left.
will always have to say it.
Yes.
They're genuine.
And given that she can say something like that, that means she won't forget it.
Yes.
When she grows older, she will remember they left because their father used to beat their mother.
Yes.
It's not a good thing.
Abusive marriages are really not good. They really create a criminal. They create something that you don't want.
Someone wants to revenge.
Yes.
Out of love for you, this child might one day kill the father.
Why not?
What would you have done?
Especially
for
the boys. They
Yes.
want to protect their mothers.
Yes.
I think there is a lot of problems in enduring this abusive marriage than staying just because you are a man, a woman of God. You're praying.
Yes.
I've had someone who was telling me a story of a woman who is born again. They are all born again. They're all in church. They're all in choir. And the guy slaps her and beats her all the time, but she's saying she's praying about it.
So
and,
unfortunate. Yeah.
they are okay with it. I always tell such people that when you die, because your husband slapped you and beat you and maybe threw you on a wall or a metal, you will go to heaven and God will give you another slap.
Yes.
Because you are not
you are not a reasonable person.
Yeah,
and
you're not a
God has
reasonable
given
person.
us free will.
Free
Even when
will.
you're getting into a marriage, it is presumed that you consented to this. So if you feel you can't take it, you are again free to live.
Yes.
Yes. And I usually think about maybe Uganda and Kenya, and I don't know if we have like shelters for women who are abused.
You can tell us, let us
Let us know if there are any shelters.
there are any shelters for women who are being abused.
Yeah. Because sometimes many people stay because they're saying, I don't have where to go.
They don't have where to go.
Yeah.
They can't go to their parents. They can't go anywhere.
Yes.
So do we have shelters for such? So if you do, please reach to us and write in the comments or in our DM and let us know if there are some
shelters for women who are abused. Yeah. And of course, if you feel you can afford to do it, I know sometimes, hiring a lawyer can be expensive, but there are these other organizations which give free legal advice to women who are being abused.
Yeah.
So you could go and, they initiate a divorce for you. If you can, come to me.
Yeah, you can come to her. By the way, she is a lawyer and she's a very good lawyer.
I run a very
here
good
in
firm.
Nairobi.
So you can come and we talk about it and we see how we can have you protected. And by the way, there's even, a provision in the law for protection orders for women who are going through domestic violence, even men. If you find that your spouse is beating you up or is abusing you in any way,
By the way,
just come,
like
we'll go to court, very quickly get an order stopping your husband, from doing all that. He will actually be asked to leave the house, maybe.
Some women are beating their husbands too.
Yes.
And it is very common here in Kenya.
Yes.
Some women do beat their husbands.
Yes.
So also
you come
men.
home and you slap like you have never known. If you're a man out there and you're suffering, I know society judges you very harshly.
Yeah.
Inbox me.
Yeah, you need to talk.
Or just call my office. We shall schedule you a very private office.
Yeah.
No one will know what we
just
about.
Inbox us and we shall get to know about it. By the way, very many men are out there suffering just because the community or the society has not catered for them. They always think they should be mature, they should be strong men, endure problems, but no, abuse is abuse in marriage, and this
it doesn't matter who's dispensing it, a man or a woman, or a man or a woman, it's abuse. Don't take abuse if you can't take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for watching us today, and this is what we had. Comment in the comment section and add on and tell us more things. Let us tattoo. Let us discuss these things and come out.
Do not
forget to subscribe to our channel. We're going to put there the link down, and you will keep catching up with us. See you
next time.